Here's again about the business of busyness. We talked earlier about we're so busy that we can't really do the things that we need to do to get ahead. Okay? Now, I've heard a lot of clients say, well, I'm just too busy doing what is expected of me that I don't have time to do these things that you're telling me to. I don't have time to spend on my career management or professional development. Now, I'm going to be a little blunt here. This is a comfortable excuse, but it just means that you're not taking control of your own time or managing your own career and life. Another thing is that if you're always doing what others are expecting of you, you are merely meeting expectations. You're not illustrating your creativity, your self-initiative, your leadership, and your unique value to the company. Okay? So sometimes trying to be a good soldier or a good corporate citizen is going to be a detriment. So what's this about spending 10 minutes a day? All I'm asking each of us to do is schedule just 10 minutes every day to work on our career, to look at our career, to spend on our personal development, to spend on our professional development. Most people can devote 10 minutes a day to something, especially if it's going to help them advance, but they choose not to. So I'm going to take a few seconds, and everybody get out your calendar right now and block out 10 minutes a day for your own career. Now, during that 10 minutes, you can use any of these tools during that 10 minutes to improve the different areas in your life, in your career, in your development. But just get in the habit of spending 10 minutes a day on yourself. Okay, so how many of us have heard of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Jonathan?
Yes.
Have you heard of that book?
Sure.
And Kathy, have you heard that book?
Yes, love it.
Do you guys remember about the 4 quadrants?
I could use some refresher.
Jonathan, can you remember about that?
Not offhand.
Okay. No problem. The 4 quadrants, I really love it because it tells us, it splits our to-do items or life activities into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 is the urgent items, the things that are in crisis, the firefighting things that we have to do, the pressing problems, the deadline-driven late projects. Quadrant 2 is the important but not urgent items. Those are the preventive activities, the networking, the building relationships so that you have a support staff before you need it. It also includes recognizing new opportunities and planning, things like that. So that's a very important quadrant, quadrant 2. The non-important quadrants are quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. Quadrant 3 are things like they seem urgent because they're happening now, but they're not necessarily important, like interruptions or some phone calls or some mail or some reports. And those things take the most of our time because we think they're important, but they're not really. And then quadrant 4 are the non-urgent items like trivial work, busy work, some mail, some phone calls, those time wasters. Sometimes we involve ourselves in quadrant 4 to avoid something that we really need to do. So we really want to, in the big picture of things, try to eliminate time that we spend in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. And the time that we save by not doing quadrant 3 and quadrant 4 items, we put in quadrant 2 activities, in the preventive activities, in the relationship building activities, in recognizing the new opportunities. The more time we spend in quadrant 2, guess what? The less time we have to spend in quadrant 1, the firefighting mode, the crisis mode, because we're spending more time in quadrant 2 to prevent those quadrant 1 activities. So what does that mean to us right now? Well, the thing that I want to ask of everybody here today is to really take a look at everything that crosses your path with a return on investment mentality. What are you actually getting out of this activity? Is it just busy work? Is it just trivia? Just because that person is knocking on my door right now, do I have to stop everything I'm doing right now to answer their question? Or can I tell them I will be free at 2 o'clock and we can talk about that later? So think about, in my, both in my timepiece book and in the professional development toolkit, I talk about great tools to eliminate some of these items. That the professional development toolkit covers time management, career management, work-life balance, and other issues to get advancement in your work. So some of the tools that we're talking about today are the professional business commitment plan and the individual career development plan. Those two are your individual commitments to your company and to your professional development. The meeting management checklist and the one-on-one manager's employee agenda, that's how to build relationships with your managers and your department. A lot of people, I talked a lot about the one-on-one manager meetings. I really want everyone to think seriously about setting up regular meetings with your managers. And this one-on-one manager employee agenda list helps you decide what you want to talk about in those meetings. It doesn't have to be the same topics every week or every time you meet, but you do want to be able to talk about your performance. You want to be able to make sure you understand their expectations. You want to make sure they understand your career goals and how they can help you achieve your goals. If you don't take control of where you're going, they're going to send you in directions that the company needs, not necessarily what you need. Okay? Your professional career press kit, I want you guys to keep that up to date. Every time a customer commends you on something, anytime you get a thank you note from somebody, you stick it in your professional career press kit as it happens, so you don't have to, remember it going on. If somebody told you verbally, hey, you did a nice job on X, Y, and Z, ask them to send your manager a note thanking you for your service so you have something in writing. A lot of the people that are thanking you in person will be happy to write it out for you. They're just not, they didn't consider it. But once you ask them, hey, can you write that out for me and copy my manager, they're going to be really happy. Then reciprocate. When somebody does it for you, you write them a thank you note and you copy their manager and your manager. That shows you that's an easy way to market yourself. It's an easy way to show appreciation, and it's an easy way to let your manager know what you're doing. Okay? The appropriate client response cheat sheet is also in the packet, and here the client is not just a paying client, it's your managers, it's your coworkers, it's your executives, it's even your HR representatives, anybody that you work with in a daily basis. The business networking strategy plan. A lot of us in the corporate world kind of forget about the importance of marketing yourself. I'm going to give you one example. For instance, in performance review time, your manager isn't in sole control of your performance evaluation and your raises and your bonuses. What normally happens is that all the managers of his band or rating get together in a room and they put all the names of their employees in a bucket. So everybody of your same band rating gets rated against and sorted against each other. So if your manager is the only one that understands your value to the company, you're not going to do very well in that room. But if you have all the managers in that room aware of your value and your contributions to the company's bottom line, you're going to do much better in the performance rating. So that's why business networking strategies are really, really important to the corporate world. And sometimes we don't realize that. So the Professional Development Toolkit talks about that. Leveraging links process, that says, okay, I know these 5 people, but how do I expand my influence beyond these 5 people? Well, you leverage your links. You use those 5 people and find out who they're connected with and start building your connection through the people that you already know. So that's another tool that we talk about in the professional development. And to tell you the truth, LinkedIn is a very effective way to leverage your links. You can it doesn't take very much time, 10 minutes every 2 weeks will get you there in no time. And then we have some prioritization and time management tools. The 4D diagnostics, that's how to whittle your to-do list down using the 4Ds. You delay, appropriate things. You delay, you delete, you delegate, and you descope. Okay, the 4-quadrant method, we already talked about that. That's Stephen Covey's method. And then the Ergo method for prioritizing tasks is a very visual way to actually see your return on investment on specific issues associated with your individual defined attributes. So we can, in the development toolkit, we talk more about that. Okay? Let's see. We talked about your professional performance and your career. Who is going to be responsible for making that possible for you? The mistake that most people have is they leave their professional development in someone else's hands. They really expect the manager to define their career path. They expect the company to pay for their professional and career development. You know, the next new item out there, they expect the companies to pay for it. They expect the manager to tell you if you're not meeting expectations. Well, if you have your one-on-one meeting set up, you can ask your manager, how am I doing, instead of waiting for them to tell you how you're doing. And they expect the manager to tell you what you're going to work on next. Now, most managers have as many as 8 to 12 people that report to them. And then again, the manager also reports to other people. So you're not their only concern at this point. But at the same token, you know, your career, your profession should be your most important project. So you're the one that should be initiating all this discussion. So your career is your responsibility, and these tools are meant to help you take more ownership of your career path. And another thing is, I want to encourage everybody on this call and listening to the replay of this tape, is to take your professional and career development as not something extra or something to be done or focused on when you've finished everything else. It really should be something that you blend and integrate with your everyday activity. Actually, I want to encourage that the product that everybody's developing is the product you. You're the product. And you don't want to wait. You don't want somebody else to tell you how the product you should turn out. Okay? So we want to project manage ourselves or product manage ourselves. Okay? We're running a little bit out of time, and in my toolkit, I talk about who's responsible for writing the PBC, the professional business commitment plans, and the individual development plan, who writes it, who reviews it, you know, how does it fit in your performance review. In general, real quickly, your manager, in the perfect world, your manager will have his personal business commitment plans all written out. And then he'll have, this is what I want to accomplish, A, B, and C. And then since you have his goals, A, B, and C, you can write your goals that support and achieve his goals. So it's all connected. And we talk more about that in the development toolkit. But you can also, if you're interested in more information, you just send me a line and I can send you a little bit of information about that. Okay? The advantage of keeping, we talked about the return on investment in mind. Here's an example. One of the things that will be discussed in the Book of Answers is, here's an example. It says, I want to be a good team player, and I'm doing everything that people are asked of me, and a lot of the items are back office. They're not they're not high profile, and they're actually below your pay grade, okay? But you feel like nobody else is doing it, and it has to get done, so it kind of falls on your shoulder, and you're trying to be a good corporate citizen. Well, some of the things that I want to encourage people to think about is that just because someone asks you to do this doesn't mean that you should be doing it. Just because you can do it, it may not be good for your career to actually do it. It actually can be detrimental. For instance, if everyone in your band level, for instance, you're a pay grade or band level 9, and everybody that's a band level 9 is doing band level 9 work, and you're doing band level 8 and band level 7 because, well, nobody else is around to do it, and you're being a good citizen. Come performance time, the band level 9, all the band level 9 people are compared to each other. They're doing band level 9 stuff. You're doing band level 8 and 7 stuff. You're going to be getting a below average performance review. That's just the way it is. So you've got to watch out for yourself on this stuff. So here's an example. Well, what if I am getting below pay grade or a band level 9 assignments? What can I do about it? My boss is telling me to do these things. Well, get out your PDC and your IDP. When you're doing your one-on-one managers meeting every other week, talk to them about them. Understand your company's vision and mission statements. Understand how your specific roles and responsibilities support both your company's vision and your department's goals. In your one-on-one meetings with your manager, document your performance expectations. And then every task that crosses your desk, ask questions. Is it appropriate for my pay grade? Ask the who, what, when, where, and how. If the manager says, I want you to do it, elevate that item to fit band 9. For instance, maybe you can optimize something. Maybe you can automate it. Maybe you can streamline the process to save time, to save money, or maybe you can productize it. Do something to it that elevates that task that fits your pay grade. If you can't do that after talking to your manager and brainstorming some ideas, if you can't do that, talk to him about delegating it to somebody that's at the right pay grade. Talk about money. Hey, you're paying me $75 an hour to do this thing when you can give it to a junior engineer that gets paid $25 an hour. Show them the time and money waste in doing that. If that doesn't work, have your manager note in your PDC, have it documented that this is an exception, that you're being asked to do this and you shouldn't be docked because of this assignment. Get it documented. And then start creating your individual networking strategy and build your relationships with other managers and departments and executives and mentors. Find some mentors and coaches in your environment, and even reach out to external recruiters so that you are getting the right assignments that challenges you and excites you. Also get involved in outside professional organizations. Get involved in groups in LinkedIn and your other social media stuff. Okay, so remember, your manager isn't the gatekeeper. He's not responsible for you having a satisfying work-life balance, or he's not responsible for your career development. He's not responsible to make sure you're meeting and networking with the right people. He's not responsible for making sure you understand all of these things. He can help you in your goals, but you have to be transparent with your career goals and your career path so that he can help you. So these tools are really systematic tools to help you think differently. And I want you to get in the habit of strategically responding, not just reacting to things that are happening to you right now, but be deliberate and strategic in your time and energy. We want to keep your return on investment in mind at all times. You're going to use the diagnostic tools, the 4-quadrant methods, and some time management cheat sheets to help you with these things. I can give you some more information about that. One last thing before I open it up for questions is I also want you guys to get comfortable with change management. That old adage, the only constant is change, is accurate today, but in this data-generating world, change continues to come faster. So you can't even be at ease with the one transition because that transition will be continuous. So the better you are at being at ease with continuous transitions, the better it is for you. So that means being at ease with change management. Acknowledge what is already committed. Prioritizing incoming with the current activities. Don't just keep adding to your to-do list. Actually, anytime something comes on your plate, have it prioritized. Identify what has to come off your plate to accommodate this new priority. And identify the stakeholders. Make sure they recognize the consequences of the change. Identify the tasks that need to drop off, and get approval from the stakeholders on the consequences. You're not responsible for doing everything that people ask of you. You're responsible for managing the things that people ask of you, and that includes prioritizing. That includes deleting some obsolete items, and that means just staying on top of everything in that order. Okay. There's a lot more to this presentation, but I will send you the PowerPoint a little bit later. I'm going to open it up now for some questions.
Laura, I've got a question.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you, too. Gosh, there's a lot of great information on your website that's just there for us. So I spent some time, earlier this week looking at that, and you just got some great tools there, so thank you. And could you repeat the top 3 professional issues? I didn't get those. It was just a list. Would you mind repeating those for me?
I don't mind at all. One is unclear and changing directives. The other one is time management. People are not able to manage their time appropriately or project manage their activities. And then staying ahead of the learning curve on new technologies. They're so busy, head down with the things they're doing on the daily activities, they're not looking ahead. They're not forward focused.
Thank you. I see some other questions that have come in as well. Here's one. What are the top 3 misconceptions that professionals make out there?
Well, we talked a little bit about them. One of them is thinking they don't have time for their own professional and career development. And I want to encourage everybody out there that your career management is not something extra that you do. You really want to incorporate it into your everyday. So that's why I suggested at least scheduling 10 minutes a day working on these things. Mm-hmm. Remember, the most important product that you're ever going to develop is yourself. And you're the product that you're offering to the company and to the world, to your family, to everyone. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is a lot of us are really good at identifying the tasks that we do, but not quantifying our value or our performance to what's important to the company.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I see another listener wants to know where to get your professional development toolkit, the professional development toolkit. Where do we get that?
Well, I'm excited about that. There's a company out there called Bits on the Wire. They're actually putting this together, and I'll send out contact information about them, and then we can go from there. Also, in the meantime, if people are interested in a preview of the Book of Answers, I can give them information about that.
Great. I see one other another question here. It says, let's see, Laura, you talked about a lot of different tools and ways to get ahead. What are some of the low-hanging fruits? Which ones can we do right now to make things for us?
I think the one thing that will make a big difference in most people's lives is actually setting up that weekly or twice a month one-on-one meeting with your manager. One of the things I really encourage people to do is be transparent with your manager on the progress you're making on your activities, the goals that you have for yourself in your career and in your professional development, what they expect of you, what you expect from them. Have that open line of communication with them. So if you set up a weekly, put it in your calendar and put it in their calendar, we're going to meet together for 20 minutes every other week on Monday at 2 o'clock, and just get it in your calendar, then you can have a short meeting, have a longer meeting, but as long as you've got that opportunity to connect.
That's great. Thank you.
Welcome to Light Your Fuse. The next presentation will start at the top of the hour.